Any further comments?
Nope. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anybody else got any public comment? Yeah.
I went downstairs to get the answers that Commissioner Solomon reviewed in reference to the questions of the IT contract. 2 out of the 3 people were there. They were unaware of where that information would be. So,
it's
Commissioner
Kathy
Solomon,
Gary.
did you make a copy and leave it for me?
Kathy Gary's not here.
Yeah,
She was the
it's
one
on
that
her
got it.
computer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else got any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move in.
Yes.
Yeah?
If this gentleman wants to make his grievance public, what is the procedure?
Made it public.
Well, yes, except I don't believe anybody here except you 3 knows what it was about, except that he's not happy with the procedure. I mean, do you now call a public meeting and he presents his case and Jason presents his? How does it work?
I don't know.
I think this is a new grievance, because this is against the elected official, this is
I
against
think
the
what-
procedures.
Wait a minute.
I think what
Go ahead.
Mr. Babson is saying is that he wants to know the circumstances behind the grievance. Is that correct?
No, this gentleman wants to go public with his grievance.
Right.
Right.
He
But-
read his letter and you folks hadn't done your job or whatever he's saying. At some point, if it does going public just mean he comes in and writes a letter and nobody hears the other side of the case?
The rest of it is non-public. We
Yeah.
discussed that in non-public session with him.
No, I understand
3
that, David,
times.
but from this point forward, he wants to make it public.
Yeah,
He's made his grievance public.
right.
Do you now at some point publicly refute what he has to say, or even tell the public what he's concerned about?
The only
If he wants it public, I would think the whole thing would be laid on the table.
given
I
that
think
it's
he
the
just
jail, I'm
read his
concerned about that.
concerns. He already stated his concerns. I think this is a new grievance that he filed. He didn't mention details actually what is going on in the jail. I think maybe that part is not
Yeah, but he
public.
wants it to be laid
That-
out on the
But
table.
maybe that part is
All
non-public,
of
but
it.
this maybe should be public,
Yeah.
because this is what he make public.
But
He has
he's
not,
asking for the whole thing to be public,
Excuse me.
the whole thing. There is no excuse. Call Schwartz.
Hold it.
What I'm concerned about is, given that this is a jail issue, that there are certain issues that came up that may be difficult, we may not be able to explain in a public hearing. You know, what occurred may be a problem to explain in a public hearing.
Thank you.
Not to belabor this.
Go ahead.
So where do we go from here?
I don't
It's
know.
where we go from here,
Yeah.
not where you go from here.
Okay, where do you go from here?
Let me say this, we have scheduled 3 public hearings for this
No,
gentleman.
Non-public.
Non-public, I'm sorry. And in each case, he failed to provide his information at this hearing so that we could make a judgment. The first one, we excused because he didn't have access to his personal folder. So we canceled that one. That was our fault. He had to have that information. All right. The other 2, he didn't come in prepared to talk about his side. That's why I don't want to get into his side of it. That's public, non-public information that we have. If this goes further to court or whatever, I do not want to be accused of letting stuff out that's non-public. Even though if he wants to, he can let out all the information he wants to, and he did. He did not go as far as saying what he was accused of, I'll admit that, but
That's what we can't
I
say.
think your last statement, I don't think it is accurate. You said he didn't come 2 times prepared. I think he came prepared, but suddenly there was a report done, and he said there was an investigation took place, but nobody even asked him any questions. I think that's why he stated that he didn't want to say anything, and I think if you read it, that is why he filed his grievance. It was not properly done. There was an investigation took place, and he never talked to him. And if you look at it here, when you read it, he wanted to state his side to the investigator, but he never got that chance. If you read this.
well, I don't believe all of that he said in his statement, but let me say, we gave him every opportunity 3 different times to present his information. A hearing, to me, is to hear both sides. And we heard one side, what he was accused of. We didn't hear his side, and he declined to give his side. And that's all I can say right now. We've got another one scheduled at 11 o'clock. We'll see what happens then. I mean, we've given him ample opportunity to explain his side, and he declined to give his side of the story. So what are we to do? We've given him another opportunity at 11 o'clock to do it again. He said he canceled last week because he was on vacation. So we scheduled it for this week. He said 2 weeks ago that he would be ready last week. So hopefully he'll be ready this week to give his side of the story. If we don't hear his side of the story, what choice do we have? I've been trying to be fair, as fair to him as possible. That's all I can say, I guess, at this time. I'd rather not get into what he's accused of, because that's non-public. He wants to say what he's accused of, that's up to him.
I don't think
Okay.
he said anything. There's nothing in there.
Mr. Babson?
Well, Mr. Chairman, it would appear to me that if he wants to go public, then his obligation is to not to come in here and accuse you of wrongdoing, but also to say tell his side of the story.
Yeah,
We've been asking for
And
that.
that's going public to me, is coming in and telling one side of the story.
I think that is the jail side. I think he is complaining about the procedure, how it was handled. That is what I'm reading here in this.
That was certainly clear, that he was complaining about that.
we gave him every opportunity to have any witnesses, and we arranged with the jail to get those witnesses off their duty and have somebody else fill in for them. It hasn't happened. Yes, Melissa?
At a recent meeting, Commissioner Kenny held up a report or something, and the discussion was kind of shut off.
Right.
It was regarding something that came over from Belknap County. Is that related?
That was
to
the
this?
investigation, yep.
And that's why it was shut off.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any further public comment? Yes,
Is the public testimony?
excuse me?
I comment on this particular issue or in general?
General.
In general? Mr. Rich, go ahead.
Commissioner Kenny, in the last meeting, you asked me about the discrepancy between the manufacturer's suggested retail price of the Barracuda backup appliance and the price of the appliance that Cybertron recently sold to Carroll County.
Yes.
And I told you that I would investigate because I didn't have that information readily available. Apologize for not having that information readily available. However, had I known in advance that you had questions, I certainly would have been better prepared. What I have found is that our price includes the cloud storage for the remaining 6 months of the year 2012 to get us through this budget year. So if you subtract that 6 months of cloud storage at $50 per month, or $300, from the $12.99 that we charge the county, that brings the actual cost of the appliance down to $9.99, which is precisely what Barracuda recommends that we charge. Upon reviewing the proposal again, I do see that this information was not made clear, and for that I do apologize to the Commission. When you add the $200 for the update subscription charge, that brings the price of the appliance up to $11.99 from Cybertron, which is exactly 98 cents more than what GovConnection charges for the same device, and I do have their printout. And we do not charge any shipping, which I believe they do. And it's $55 less than CDWG's advertised price. And again, I do have it printout if the Commission so chooses to see it. And again, we do not charge shipping. So I feel that our price was quite reasonable when you factor everything in. Does that answer your concerns, Commissioner?
I have to look into it again because you
Okay.
said 6 months cloud storage was that included. I think it was separate what you give to me. You put it
did
on the
list it as
second
separate.
line and then you put it on the third line. So we had $12.99 and then we had, was it $500 or $600, so it was separate. And now you said it is included.
You are correct. It is listed separately for subsequent years. Our price did include the cloud storage for the remainder of this calendar year to get us through this budget. And again, I understand that was not made clear, and I do apologize for that. So the third line was for subsequent years, which will be budgeted for in future budgets.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
No, actually I didn't bring my, I don't have the paperwork anymore. I believe I have it downstairs.
You have any further?
I do. Commissioner Kenny, also in the last meeting, you mentioned that as part of last year's contract, we charged $300 to install and configure each new PC.
Yes.
And you also mentioned that those fees were waived as part of this year's contract.
What? What was your last? I didn't.
You mentioned that as part of this year's contract.
I know. I said the last time that April 1st it was waived.
That's correct. That's part of this year. That's part of the new contract.
Yes,
You
that
are
is
correct.
what I said.
Yes,
Okay.
I agree. First, I'd like to thank you for confirming that we did follow the terms of our contract precisely, although I did notice that you neglected to mention that we gave you an unsolicited select client discount, as we call it. I'm sure that was just an oversight on your part. Second, you stated, and I'm quoting here, "I see in March there were thousands and thousands of dollars paid for hookups. Why did you suddenly, all the way before the 1st of April, you had many, many new hookups. Many, we paid thousands and thousands in March with the understanding that April 1st the fee was going to be waived, but suddenly we had $1 million stuff to hook up."
Yes.
What you said. If you review those invoices, and again, I do have copies with me, you'll see that those installations were billed in December, not in March. And although one of those invoices was not actually paid until March, for whatever reason.
Where did you get the documentation from? Because what I read,
This-
it was all in March. It was a couple $1,000s in March. That is what I get from the office. So where do you have your, where do you get your, can I see yours, what you have?
These are invoices. And again, one of those, the smaller of them, was paid in March, although if you look at the invoice, they go back to the previous December.
I have a couple $1,000s for March only. For, it said hookup, set up and hookup on it. See if I
We actually did perform one installation in March, which we actually did not bill the county for, even though at that point we did not actually have a new contract yet, as the contract was in the process of being put out to bid. And again, this was an unsolicited discount from Cybertron to Carroll County. Finally, and most importantly, the decision as to when to purchase and install every one of those PCs and notebooks was left entirely up to the department heads in which those PCs were installed. I was not responsible for any of those decisions. I do have a couple of questions for you, Commissioner Kenny.
Yeah.
Twice you referred to thousands and thousands of dollars paid, as you put it, when actually the total of the invoices for these PCs was under $2,000. Can you please explain to me why you referred to it as thousands and thousands?
Because I think it was over $2,000.
The invoices are right there.
1,800, a little over
Yeah.
1,800.
Well, this is the hookup from when? Well, I will come next time, but I have a bill. You bring something else, this is something else, this is from December. I was talking about March.
The only thing we were paid for
Well,
in
I
March.
have it from the office, it's a couple $1,000s. That's why I wouldn't bring it up if I
Okay.
didn't. enjoy it.
Well, from our point, what we have received in money for March was, one of those invoices was paid, and all other monies that was paid to Cybertron was for the regular contract that we get on a monthly basis. And that's what our records show. So,
That is what your records show.
Yes.
I got something different from the office.
Well, next week,
I will look into
next
it.
week you bring yours. We'll look at it again. You be present next week?
I will be present next week.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment this morning?
We've got plenty of people waiting, let's go.
If not, then we will move into our normal agenda and
Report, is it, or I can do it later? I just
Yes.
want to say something.
okay,
Report.
go ahead.
Can we hold that for a little later so we can get these people
Oh,
started?
okay, that's why I'm asking. Can I
Okay.
report now? Can I
Well,
report? That's fine.
Please.
I can report later. Morning.
Good morning.
Couple of things.
Thank you.
First thing I have on my list is we've been taking blueberries, we're in the blueberry season, and doing pretty good. I don't know what the exact totals are just yet. Still, hopefully, it looks like we'll have a couple more weeks. I think we've possibly hit the peak. It might be coming down, but they're still coming in, so we've done good with that. The back tire on the big tractor, the John Deere 4030, somehow got a slice in it. I don't know if I hit a culvert when I was cutting hay or what happened, but the other day I came back from Walker's and calcium is flying out the sides. Luckily I was at the shop when it started happening. We were able to get someone to come in and replace the tire for us, put the new tire on, and so we were back to hay.
Did it have a tube in it to start with?
No,
No.
because it only had a slice in it's a tubeless tire. It only had a slice in the side of the sidewall, and it was shooting stuff out. So
Okay.
got the new tire, and then he replaced it. I guess they got this new stuff instead of the calcium. Now it doesn't. I don't know what it's called, but it doesn't rust your rims as much, and that's what he put back into it instead of the calcium. We've been doing a lot of hay. Our numbers around just over 6,600 bales that I've counted up this morning. We have 2 more fields, 1 good field, 1 mulch field left that I think will add up around 1,000 bales left, and then we should be, I'm hoping to do that next week, we should be done with first cut and just waiting for the grass to grow for second. We still have, we've sold quite a bit out, but we still have quite a bit in the barn. Customers, I don't know if it's just buying less this year, or people have gotten rid of their animals because it's more expensive to take care of them nowadays, or what the deal is, or maybe because we're a little earlier this year. Sometimes we don't have this much hay until August, so maybe it'll all of a sudden pick up, but we do have quite a bit in the barn right now. Without too many orders, really, we filled a lot of our orders. Farm Day is Saturday, 28th, 9 to 3. We hope to see as many people there as possible. Have a lot of activities planned and events.
I've been publicizing this for the last 2 weeks.
Yes, the papers have done really well. Just wanted to thank them for all the press releases. The Cooperative Extension has done really well about sending those in. So hopefully people will be very well informed and we can get a good turnout. Talking about good weather for the most part of the day, I believe, so far that I've seen.
And if it rains, it's still on?
Still on, rain or shine.
Rain or shine.
Last I heard on the weather, it wasn't going to rain until late afternoon, so hopefully that'll be after the event. Sounds like it's going to be nice weather. We started picking squash out in the garden, the summer squash and zucchini. I think that some cucumbers will be coming soon. We got delayed a little bit with our plants, but they're coming on now, so I think we'll get a decent harvest out of that. The biggest thing I had to really talk to you folks about today, or just inform you what's going on, is the wastewater, the compressor motor is out. Out back, if you go out back towards the wood pile, there is a vault in the ground. And in this vault it's a chamber, and basically we have 10 different septic fields out in one of our fields. So what happens is after the water is all processed through our plant, it goes out there and it rotates through these 10. Now they're held closed by air pressure. The valves are held closed by air pressure, and as they rotate through, it'll drop the air pressure, let the water go out, and so on and so forth all the way down. Well, the compressor has probably been out there 10, 12 years, I think, that Wayne told me. At times, if the electricity goes out, for example, and then the electricity comes back on, we lose power for a glitch or whatever, it will lose air pressure in all 10, and it can't fill them all back up, so we have to go down there every time that power goes out. We have to go down there and turn all the valves off, let the air pressure build up, and then turn them back on so it's got enough pressure to hold. Basically, the motor went bad. Last year we had a problem, 2 years ago, we had a problem with the thing. We got it fixed, but now this is the actual motor. Called Granger, and I want to say they said around $700, $800 for this little electrical motor, which seems outrageous to us. They weren't very quick on trying to get it to us. Alan used to take things over to, it's called New Hampshire Electrical Motors, I believe it's over in Laconia, and they rebuild them. So we took a drive over there Monday and dropped it off. He told us, from the symptoms we gave him, sounded like it should be able to be rebuilt, and we're looking at around, give or take, $225 versus $700, $800. So I'm hoping to get back that we told him it's pretty important, because right now we have to go down there and do it every day manually. We got to open up a few while the other ones are closed and to rotate it through, because you don't want it to be saturated. So that's what's going on. Hopefully we'll get that back. If not by the end of the week, I'm hoping by the first of next week on that. And then just working on the grounds, weed whacking, lawn mowing, picking up things, trying to get set up for farm day. Those are the other things that we've been working on this week. There's been a lot of hit or miss showers for haying this week, so unfortunately we haven't been able to do too much of that, so working on some other things.
You got picnic tables for Saturday?
We have a few. They are kind of in we got a rough shape over the years. We do need to, we can patch them. We'll have a few down there for where the nursing home, the Friends of the Mountain View, are going to be selling hamburgers and hot dogs and such, and we'll have some down there for that.
Okay. And you going to have people parking cars?
Yes.
Is your farm crew going to be in that day or not?
No.
No?
The part-timer might come in to see it, but the other guys, I'm not going to pay overtime, have the county pay overtime for that, so they're not going to be there. The parking, I'm hoping this year that we're going to have a lot more, we've discussed a lot more freed up space by the old nursing home over there, instead of people having to drive down in the hay fields and stuff. So we'll hopefully do a lot more parking up there.
Okay. Anybody got any questions?
No, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
Will there be
Go ahead.
signage from the main highway to the parking?
Yes, well, we'll have somebody out here, we'll have some signage out on County Farm Road. We learned that we cannot put signs out by the main roads anymore because they'll take them off and they're not getting back to us. Unfortunately, we had to go retrieve them. And so there'll be signs from County Farm Road.
From the farm road?
Yep. And we'll hopefully have volunteers out there directing traffic also.
Okay, thank you, Will.
Thank you.
Bob?
Morning.
Good morning.
One for secretary.
What's that?
One for the secretary.
Yeah.
Good morning. Today I have two contracts and one other subject. Night security alarm. They're the monitoring company for our alarm systems for both the old nursing home and the new nursing home. Their contract is ready to expire, and this is just a renewal contract. The price is unchanged from last year. I'd recommend that we continue with them. They've been a good company. They served us well. Just look for your signature today.
Are there any other companies that do that type of work?
There are a lot of other companies that do that work. Last year, when I went through the process of pricing out, they gave us the best price. However, anytime you change companies, or something like this, there's going to be an additional cost because there has to be a transfer of services. There's a setup fee. So it's less expensive to maintain them than it is to go searching for a new one. And I don't oppose, in a couple of years, sending out feelers again, but I don't think that that's something that we should do every year, especially provided that they didn't increase the price. They left it the same.
Problem is, our policy states that anything over 5,000, this is less than 5,000.
Mhm.
Okay. If we all agree on this, then we can sign the contract. Right, do I hear a motion to sign a contract for security alarm, night security, for $3,278, which is unchanged from...
That's, yeah, that's for the new nursing
That's for the new
home.
one.
The old one is
688.
$688, and that price is different by $200. It went up $200. And the reason for that is last year services were absolutely minimal because we didn't know. We expected at least portions of the building to come down.
Mhm.
That's changed. The building is still standing, and I must assume that it's going to continue standing. So they're going to have to go in and physically inspect those smoke detectors.
Okay. All right, so the old nursing home was $688. The new nursing home is $3,278. So I hear a motion to accept night security for our two buildings.
Yeah. So did you make the motion, or you asked that someone make the motion?
You make the motion?
He asked that somebody make the motion.
Okay, that's fine. I will make the motion then.
Motion is made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
You'll be signing this one then at the end.
All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye, and so voted.
Okay. Next is Tri-State Fire Protection. They provide multiple services. You'll be signing this one when...
Fire alarm.
Oh, that one?
Yeah,
Okay, it's a copy?
This is the one I'll
Okay.
take with me. That's just for you. Tri-State Fire Protection, they provide 4 services for us. They monitor our sprinkler systems, our kitchen fire suppression systems, our kitchen exhaust hoods, and the portable fire extinguishers. Again, this is a renewal contract. They have serviced Mountain View even before I arrived. They were taking care of the services at the old nursing home, so they've been with us for a while. They gave us a nice contract last year, 14% less than this year's contract. The reason for the price increase this year is last year when they took a look at the new building, they made a few mistakes in their contract. Minor, but a few mistakes, and I held them to that. I held them to their price, and they agreed to go forward, so they didn't try to hit us with any price increases. But they did say that next year we would be correcting those. So, so this year we have a 14% price increase, and it's fair. I have no problem going ahead with the recommendation.
Okay, so for Tri-State Fire Protection, it's $4,695, which is a 14% increase over previous year.
Wait 1 second, please, before you